So I'm Michelle from Run From the Future, and this is Greg. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I had a regular type of normal upbringing with music. I was in band in high school. I was in jazz band, marching band, all dorky band stuff. I played clarinet and saxophone. I taught myself how to play piano. My mom bought me a cheap keyboard. We didn't have a lot of money, so she couldn't afford piano lessons. So I taught myself how to play piano on an old, terrible Casio keyboard. But I just kept playing and playing, and I got pretty good at piano. I actually taught myself. This is gonna sound nerdy, if the Godzilla shirt's not, tipping you guys off on that. But I taught myself a lot of how to play piano by learning Final Fantasy songs and Dragon Quest and all the JRPGs that I loved to play growing up. That's how I taught myself how to play piano. So I've been playing piano since I was 15. I'm 38 now. That sounds really old probably to a lot of you. Just a couple years ago, I got into synthesizers because it's just a combination of the things I like, which is nerdy manipulation of electronics and playing music. So I just ended up, getting into synthesizers. I'm mostly a keyboardist. I'm in this band, Run From the Future, and I'm also in an industrial goth band called Web. So sometimes I'm dressed really crazy and weird. So if you see me walking around some big stompy boots or something, don't get scared. I'm probably just going to a gig or something. So I can pass over to Greg.
My name's Greg Aubry. I come from a rock music background and just got into synthesizers a couple of years ago. I was a guitar player, bassist, and vocalist. I was in a band called Superbomb for a couple of years. We played the library, I think, 3 times over the course of the First Stop Friday series. But I'd always listened to electronic music. Like Michelle and I had a very nerdy, Nintendo-centric upbringing. And I was always curious about getting into that realm and that sound and trying to figure out how some of those sounds came about. And this is really cool, by the way. I wanted to say a quick thank you to Jeff and everybody from the library for putting this together. And I wanted to talk quickly about the variety of electronic production techniques we're all using today. We had modular analog synthesis over here with Henry. That was very, very interesting. I like the science lab kind of environment of creating music that engenders itself to. And then we had the software and loop-based kind of noise production that Juan showed us, and that was really cool. And then traditional piano and synthesizer techniques that Michelle has. And I gravitated toward groove boxes. Now, a groove box is kind of 3 electronic devices in one. It is a sequencer, it's a synthesizer, and a drum machine. And you've probably heard the term sequencer a few times today, and if you don't know what a sequencer is, it is a simple computer that takes a musical staff, 4 notes, and divides it into steps that can then play back an event. Now that event can be a drum event like your kick drum hit, or a synthesizer note. So you put all of that together and you have something that will play notes and beats in one device, and then you can create music that way. And I think we're going to do a couple pieces just to sort of demonstrate what we do. Y'all like guitars?
People always super dig the guitar when I bring it out, and I don't know if people play them. You guys probably know it's an 80s instrument, but actually there's 2 kinds of guitars that you kind of see around. You see what are called they're MIDI controllers. All a MIDI controller is you know how when you're playing PlayStation, your controller controls your character? Well, a MIDI controller is basically controlling sound in that same way. So, say you have a synthesizer and you want to use a different controller to control it, you plug it into the synthesizer. I've actually used a MIDI right now. This is a MIDI controller. This particular guitar isn't a MIDI controller. It's actually got an onboard synthesizer built into it, so it's all contained. So all the shows up on a microphone and he's done. You know? But I'm always carting around stuff, so. But, you know, so yeah, I'm trying to, you know, bring back the guitar to the new generation.
Thank you very much.